Hello everyone, and welcome to How-FixIT. If your DJI Mini 5 Pro crashed, fell into water, does not power on, or shows multiple errors at the same time, such as IMU initializing, abnormal sensor, gimbal attitude error, no image transmission, arm not deployed warning, or unable to take off, the problem may be related to the core board or one of the connectors around it. In this video, I'll show you how to remove and replace the core board, also known as the main board, in the DJI Mini 5 Pro. This guide is also useful if your drone has water damage. I'll show how to remove the board for inspection, check for corrosion, clean the affected areas, and decide whether the board can be restored or needs to be replaced. To repair the DJI Mini 5 Pro, you'll need a precision screwdriver set, and for safe disassembly, plastic pry tools and tweezers. For reassembly, I recommend using electronics-grade silicone or a hot glue gun. I've included links to the tools, electronics-grade silicone, and replacement parts in the video description below. I also recommend using a magnetic mat to organize all screws and parts during the repair process. The DJI Mini 5 Pro uses many small screws of different sizes, and keeping each screw in the correct location will make reassembly much easier. A magnetic mat also helps hold small metal parts in place and reduces the risk of losing screws or making assembly mistakes. So, let's get started. Before starting the disassembly, make sure the drone is completely powered off and remove the battery. The first step is to remove the upper body cover. You need to remove the 4 screws that hold the top cover in place. 2 of the screws are hidden under stickers, so peel off the stickers and remove the screws underneath. The other 2 screws are located behind the camera gimbal. Now you can begin opening the drone's top cover. Start from the rear side where the charging port is located. I recommend using a plastic spudger to create the first gap. If you use a metal tool, be very careful not to damage or crack the housing. When opening the upper cover, be careful and do not pull it away too quickly. The upper shell has an antenna connection, and lifting the cover too aggressively may damage the antenna cable or connector. The antenna cable is additionally secured to the connector with UV cured adhesive. This adhesive is quite strong, but it can be softened with gentle heat. If you don't have a hot air station, you can use a hair dryer. Just avoid overheating the plastic parts, because they can deform. Now you can remove and replace the upper cover. Next, I'll disconnect the gimbal signal cable. First, heat and peel off the black protective film. Loosen the screw and remove the metal bracket, then disconnect the gimbal signal cable from the drone's main board. Now let's move on to removing the core board. Start by removing the adhesive that secures the cable connectors, then disconnect all cables from the board. Remove the 3 screws securing the core board to the drone frame and take off the heatsink. There is thermal paste between the heatsink and the main board. Try not to contaminate or remove it unnecessarily. If the thermal paste is damaged or dirty, it should be replaced during reassembly. On the back of the main board there is a heat dissipation adhesive sheet that holds the board in place. To remove the board, you can peel this black adhesive sheet away from the frame or heat it with a hairdryer and carefully separate the main board from the adhesive. Before lifting out the core board, pay attention to the small folding arm detection switch located in this corner. This switch detects the position of the right rear arm and controls the automatic power on feature. Be careful not to bend, break, or catch this switch on the drone frame during removal. If this folding arm detection switch is damaged or misaligned, the drone may think the arm is still folded and show an arm not deployed error or refuse to take off. The core board is the main control board of the drone. Many systems connect through this board, including the gimbal, IMU, vision sensors, ESC board, antennas, and other internal modules. If the drone shows multiple errors at the same time, for example, IMU initializing, abnormal sensor, gimbal attitude error, arm not deployed, no image transmission, or unable to take off, the problem may not be in all those modules separately. It can be caused by a loose connector, damaged socket, scratch trace, missing component, or damage on the core board itself. I've included a link to a replacement core board for the DJI Mini 5 Pro in the video description below. But keep in mind that core board replacement may require activation, controller relinking, DJI account binding checks, and professional calibration depending on the repair case. If your DJI Mini 5 Pro drone has water damage, you need to clean the board to prevent corrosion. In my separate water damage repair guide, I show how to remove the shield plates, inspect the board for corrosion, clean affected areas with distilled white vinegar if needed, rinse with distilled water, clean the board and connectors with high-purity isopropyl alcohol, dry everything completely, restore the thermal interface, and only then reassemble and test the drone. If you are dealing with water damage, I recommend checking that guide. I left the link in the video description below. Before placing the core board into the frame, check that all cables are routed in the correct direction. Lower the board carefully and make sure no flex cable, antenna cable, or wire is trapped underneath. Pay attention to the small folding arm detection switch on the core board. Do not catch or bend this switch during installation. If it is damaged or misaligned, the drone may think the arm is still folded and refuse to take off. Next, install the heatsink. Check the thermal paste or thermal interface material between the heatsink and the core board. If it is clean and still in good condition, keep it in place. Additionally, you can lightly gather the paste for better contact. If it is dry, contaminated, or damaged, replace it before installing the heatsink. Place the heatsink back onto the board and secure it with the screws. After the board with the heatsink is seated correctly and secured with the screws, reconnect all cables one by one. Now let's talk about securing the connectors and flex cables. During reassembly, some cables, connectors, and small modules need to be secured again with adhesive. For the best result, use electronics-grade RTV silicone, specifically neutral cure silicone. It stays slightly flexible after curing, helps absorb vibration, and keeps flex cables or connectors from coming loose during flight. If you don't have electronics-grade silicone, the hot glue sticks can be used as an alternative. I recommend choosing durable and weather-resistant glue so it can provide basic vibration support for connectors and cables. I left a link to the recommended glue in the description, but hot glue is less precise, sets quickly, and must be applied very carefully around small connectors and fragile flex cables. I do not recommend using regular construction silicone, especially silicone with a strong vinegar smell. This is usually acid cure silicone, and it can be unsafe around electronics because it may release corrosive vapors while curing. When securing the cables, avoid using too much adhesive near the gimbal signal cable connector. If too much adhesive gets into this area, the cable may not seat properly. If that happens, let the adhesive cure or cool down, remove the excess, and apply only a small amount. Next, secure the upper front sensing module cable and the internal speaker cable to the board. Then route the gimbal signal cable to the core board and connect it. Install the metal bracket over the gimbal signal cable and secure it with a screw. Now install the upper cover. Before closing the top cover, connect the antenna cable from the upper shell and secure it with adhesive. Make sure the antenna connector is fully seated and secured. Then place the upper cover onto the drone body and gently press around the edges to snap the clips into place. Do not force the cover if one side does not close properly. Check for misaligned clips and make sure the latches on the upper cover are not bent. Finally, install the 4 top cover screws. Now the drone is ready for the first test power on. Insert the battery and power on the drone. Watch the gimbal startup self-check, confirm that the camera image appears, and check the DJI Fly app for any required calibrations. Then perform a short controlled test flight in a safe open area. If you found this guide helpful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more tech tips and guides. Visit our website for more insights and do-it-yourself guides. Remember, every tech challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. Thanks for watching How-FixIT, and we'll see you in the next one.